police officer. He was a sergeant at the time, I believe. He's now been demoted to first class constable. And that was because he went to a Mississauga gym. He would not enforce those draconian lockdown bylaws. He even hugged a demonstrator. And all the narrative you're hearing about this from the usual suspects, Drea, is, well, he's a law enforcement officer. You have to be detached. You have to carry out your job. Oh, really? Well, the year before, that would be 2020, didn't we have police chiefs, including at the time Mark Saunders, who's now running to become mayor of Toronto, taking a knee with the Black Lives Matter demonstrators, doing the Black Power raise fist salute, and also turning a blind eye? I'll let you know, that was the peak of COVID, the social distancing rules, the masking rules, the kind of things that the freedom fighters and the patriots were being thrown into the paddy wagon for their protests. So give me a break that there are some demonstrations that you can get warm and fuzzy with the protesters, and apparently there are others where you cannot. I think the hypocrisy is off the charts, Drea.
It totally is. I feel so bad about this. And you see touch warming videos of officers, playing basketball with kids. We all love that type of stuff. And here you have an officer who used empathy, something that police officers are supposed to have as well, and is hugging and allowing people to do what is within their charter rights to do, to protest. And so this is really one of the heroes of the day. More officers should have taken a stand like this, and it's sad to see what's happening to them. And when you think of community policing, the foundation of what policing was, founded on, I think it was Robert Peel, sorry, I might be butchering that name. It was about knowing people in your community so that you break down walls, so that there isn't a rise in tensions and things like that. And that's what you're doing. When the police come, they're very intimidating sometimes. And so then you have this officer who's just like, hey, keeping the peace.
100%. It's funny. You've triggered a memory. I once knew someone with the old Canadian airborne unit who had a knowledge of policing. And he said, Dave, if I was chief, the first thing I do? I said, no, what's that? He says, I put half of the police cruisers on blocks, and I make these police officers go old school, walk up and down a beat, get to know the shopkeepers.
Get to know everybody.
Exactly. Because too many times I think it's just drive-by policing where you're not really paying attention. And also I can tell, I'm in York region. I swear, Drea, I'm near a cinema with a big parking lot. And sometimes I've walked by, and I'm not trying to denounce the York Regional Police, but I see this so often, sometimes as many as 5 police SUVs lined up window to window, and they're all like chatty Cathys. Like, what are you doing?
I've seen that out here too.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? If you have to be confined to your cruiser, at least drive around, especially a region as big as that. But, when we look back at what we did to people during the last 3 years, Drea, the idea of you denied them to go to the gym. You suggested stay at home, cocoon yourself, wear a mask, and in the case of Doug Ford, eat some more cherry cheesecake. Yeah, way to go, fat bastard. Let's get the obesity and the diabetes right off the scale. What harm was there? Drea, I look at it like scalping, right? When you're going to a concert or a sports event and you go up to a scalper, and I've even had people in law enforcement tell me that this is not a crime. If I'm a scalper and you come to me and you say, I want to buy a pair of tickets, and I mark them up 300%, but you're willing to pay that, well, what's the crime? And what I'm saying here is that people going to a gym voluntarily to work out and the gym welcoming them in, again, what is the crime? This guy's a hero in my book.
Oh, absolutely. This is a perfect example. There it is, the video of him hugging. I mean, that goes a long way for a group of people who were so dehumanized. That's what was happening. And, when you look at how people were excluded from their own families, from their own friends, from their own jobs, and how peaceful the movement fighting against that was, it actually is really remarkable. And so it's nice that there was a few officers who could see that these were just Canadians standing up for their rights and peacefully.
And Drea, I got a hypothetical question for you. If we have to, because there's a lot of buzz, especially with these wildfires and the smoke drifting down to major U.S. cities, and you see, oh, you better wear a mask, you better stay indoors, and I'm thinking, where have I seen this movie before, right? And of course, the enviro zealots, they're all about climate lockdowns because they'll point to the COVID years and say, look how the carbon footprint went down by a double-digit percent. Wouldn't it be a jolly idea for the sake of the environment that 1 year out of every 4, we just shut everything down like the first year of COVID? I swear I'm not making this up, Drea. Whether it's a climate lockdown or some new coronavirus, if the authorities tried to implement what we saw the last 3 years, when quite frankly, we didn't know better. Heck, when I was going out to the airport to do those interviews, I was wearing gloves. I had goggles on, 2 masks, right?
I had the N95s before they were sold out.
Exactly.
I was wearing them in January.
But now that we know better, what I'm asking you, Drea, with the Canadian public, the majority of them, I know there's some that are gung-ho to be told what to do. They're the ones still wearing masks. That's who they are. But would people go along with this garbage again? Because I would like to think that all shopkeepers, gym owners, you name it, would say, no. You can't arrest and throw us all in jail. We know this is bogus. Or would there be compliance? What do you say?
Collectivism is so powerful, this belief that you have to behave in a way that you believe everybody wants you to. So I do believe, unfortunately, even business owners who were hurt before, maybe even lost their business or almost lost the business, some of them, many of them would fall into it, even if they don't want to. With that said, there are so many people now who look back at the last few years and go, you know what, that wasn't right. That shouldn't have happened. So there would certainly be a larger amount of people who, would say, no, I'm not doing this again. Enough is enough. And then there's the percentage of people who sort of saw through it very early on, and they're going to snap back into action right away with this. They're going to see right through the agendas. I think they're already seeing through some of them.
Yeah, and as I said, Dre, I mean, I think the ones who are gung-ho for that, they're the ones that right now, on a beautiful summer day, when they're driving alone in a car with the windows up and wearing a mask, those are the ones that say, that's right now a political statement. They're saying, I love big government. I love big lockdowns. I love being told what to do. Can hardly wait for it to come back. I would like to think the vast majority of people have said, you know what? We sure learned something. We were kind of ignorant in 2020, but by 2023, we woke up, and that ain't going to happen again. Hey, folks, that was a clip from the Daily Roundup. That is our live stream show that airs from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday. I'm usually here for 4 of the shows. Our Alberta team takes over on Fridays. And you know what? You can interact with the hosts. If you give us a small financial donation, we'll read your comment during the live stream. So please go to revelnews.com/livestream and tune in Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern.